Hey guys, Travis Gillespie here. Today we're looking at probability, so let's highlight that word here. And in this problem, it's asking us to write the words either impossible, unlikely as not, or certain. In fact, there's one that's missing. It's the word that comes between as likely as not and certain, and that is likely. So one of the words that we could write down here is likely. So let's look at this first example. It's asking us, hey, you roll an even number on a standard number cube. Well, what is a number cube? Well, that's the same thing as a die. And you might know the word is dice if you have two, but we have a die here. And if we were to roll a die, well, there are 6 sides on a die, and the values, I could draw the die, or I could just write these values out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There are 6 sides to a die. And we're trying to find out what is the chance of us rolling an even number. In fact, I want to highlight even number here because that's important. So let's go down below and highlight all of the even numbers on our die. Well, 2 is an even number, 4 is an even number, and 6 is an even number. Therefore, if we look at this, well, I can see that there are 1, 2, 3 odd numbers. There are 1, 2, 3 even numbers. So it looks like it's just as likely to roll an odd number as it is to roll an even number. So it's a 50-50 chance here. It's gotta be as likely as not. All right, let's look at the second problem. Go ahead and I'm going to cross that off. I don't know why it's there. It doesn't need to be there. This next one asks us, hey, February has 28 days. What's the probability that February has 28 days in it? Let's just think logically and not try to get tricky here. What's the probability that February has 28 days? Well, I would suggest that it's 100%. 100%. There were 28 days this past February. Therefore, it's 100%. It is certain that February will have 28 days. Okay, a spinner is equally divided into 4 colors here, green, blue, yellow, and red. The spinner lands on blue is what we're trying to find out. What's the probability that the spinner lands on blue? The first thing I'm going to do is just draw a picture of a spinner. It's circular, and it's divided evenly into 4 sections. We have green. I'm just going to put a big G. In fact, I want to fix that just a bit. So let's just erase the entire spinner and fix it. All right, so we have green, blue, yellow, and red. Now, before we answer this question, I'm betting that some people might think the answer is as likely as not because it's divided evenly into 4 sections here. But we're asking what's the probability that it lands on blue only. So let's go ahead and highlight blue. I'm just going to highlight it with this blue color here. Well, this is 1 section out of 4 sections. So out of the whole, this is only 1/4 or 1/4 out of the whole. So if we look at the other 3 sections, well, there's 1 section. So the spinner could land on blue or it could land on green. But there's also an additional section. The spinner doesn't have to just land on blue or green. It could land on this yellow. I'm highlighting it the same color so we can see that the chances of it not landing on blue are much greater than it actually landing on blue. In fact, this green shade, it's 3 times larger than this blue shade. So the spinner could either land on blue or it could land on any of the other colors. So the actual chance, the value here, it's 1 out of 4. So that's 1/4. But if you were to look back at your probability line, you would see that this value here is only equal to 0.25 or equal to 25%. So it's a 25% chance that it will land on blue. 25% is in between the values 0 and 50. Therefore, the likeliness of this, or the probability of this event happening, we would just write down it's unlikely. Okay, this next one says we have a spinner. The sectors are labeled 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. I could draw a circle here and divide this into 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 sections. But let's see what we're asked for probability. It's asking, what's the probability that this spinner lands on an odd number? I'm going to highlight that real quick. Well, let's think about it. 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, these are all even numbers. What's the probability of the spinner landing on an odd number? Well, the spinner can't land on an odd number. Therefore, The probability is 0%. It is impossible. You didn't even need to draw the spinner or break it up into its sections if you just think through the problem logically.